पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं वादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Verse number 98 and 99. I chant and just follow me slowly, slowly. स्वप्नो भवत्यस्य विभक्त्यवस्था स्वमात्र शेषेण विभाति यत्र स्वप्ने तु बुद्धि स्वमेव जागृत कालीन नानाविध वासनाभि कर्त्रादिभावं प्रतिपद्य राजते यत्र स्वयं भाति ययं परात्मा धीमात्रकोपाधिरशेष साक्षी न लिप्यते तत्कृतकर्मलेशैः यस्मादसंगस्तत एव कर्मभिः न लिप्यते किंचिदुपाधिना कृतम्. I chant again one more time. Just follow me. I go very slow. स्वप्नो भवति अस्य विभक्ति अवस्था स्वमात्र शेषेण विभाति यत्र स्वप्ने तु बुद्धि स्वयमेव जागृत कालीन नानाविध वासनाभि कर्त्रादिभावं प्रतिपद्य राजते यत्र स्वयं भाति ययं परात्मा धीमात्रकोपाधिरशेष साक्षी न लिप्यते तत्कृतकर्मलेशैः यस्मादसंगस्तव एव कर्मभिः न लिप्यते किंचिदुपाधिना कृतम्. So here are two verses together. Now see the meaning. Dream is the state when the subtle body is distinctly in expression, where it expresses all by itself. In dream, the intellect by itself rebels as the agent of the expression, etc., due to various impressions gathered by it in its waking state. In this condition, the Supreme Self shines in its own glory, with the intellect as its only conditioning. It's within witness of the everything, and it is not contaminated in the least by the activity of the intellect. Since it is entirely unattached, it is not tainted by any action that the apparent conditioning may perform. I repeat one more time the translation. Dream is a state when the subtle body is distinctly in expression, where it expresses all by itself. In dream, the intellect by itself rebels as the agent of the expression, etc., due to various impressions gathered by it in its waking state. In this condition, the Supreme Self shines in its own glory, with the intellect as its only conditioning witness of the everything, and it is not contaminated in the least by the activity of the intellect. Since it is entirely untouched, it is not tainted by any action that apparent conditioning may perform. The topic is very deep. The topic is subtle body. We have been studying since previous two verses, and there was the subtle body is constructed by 8 cities, and this the this is the condition limitations of the Supreme Soul, beginningless. Now the question is, what is the evidence of the subtle body? What is the evidence? Why do we accept this subtle body? Apart from the gross body, there is no existence of any other body. So this is the basic question. You are a student of Vedanta. You have studied so many books. You have faith. But common man can ask, what the proof, what the evidence of the subtle body? Anybody can understand about gross body. Gross body is visible for anyone. When we talk about subtle body, it is very difficult to understand. So first question is, what is the evidence about subtle body? So Shankaracharya explains, yes, in the waking state, there is no evidence to existence of subtle body. Its existence will not be known in gross level. So first we have to understand that there are 3 levels, 3 conditions, 3 states: Jagrit, waking state, dream state, and deep sleep. These are 3 states. In waking state, both bodies are working. Gross body and subtle body also. In waking states, both bodies are working. But it is very difficult to recognize about subtle body. In waking state also. But in waking state, there is a gross body, and in the deep sleep, there is no body. There is no body. Susupti kale sakale bilide. There is written in scriptures, in the deep sleep, everything becomes disappear. No body, no king, no poor, no gross body, no subtle body, nothing, and nothing. So in the deep sleep, there is no body. But Shankaracharya says, स्वप्नो भवत्यस्य विभक्ति अवस्था. If you want to know about gross subtle body, then you think about dream. In dream state is its exclusive state. In dream states, there is only one body and it is subtle body. So object and device are more subtler. In this state, now thoughts becomes more subtler. Gross body level we can think very easily. In gross level we can think very easily. But now thoughts becomes more subtler. This is the second state. So in this state, in Vedanta and other philosophical methods, this state is very important. So today's talk, I talk seriously, deeply in this topic. In this state, in deep sleep, only individual soul remains, with identified with the subtle body. In the dream state, there is no role of gross body. Gross body does not have any part in the dream experience. Listen carefully. I am talking about dream experience. When you are dreaming, in same time, your gross body working. Your gross body is also working, but in different manners. Your digestion system is working, your lungs are working, blood circulation, everything, body is working. But here topic is dream experience. So in dream experience, gross body has nothing to do with this experience. Only subtle body. Mind does everything. So here Shankaracharya says, Swapno bhavatyasya vibhakti avastha. If you want to know about subtle body, you think in second level. You think subtle level. You think in dream state. What happens in dream state? Swamatra shesena vibhati yatra swapnetu buddhi. In dream state, your intellect. Now, sometime I will use word intellect. Sometime I can use mind. Sometime I can use inner instrument, antakar. Any word can I use. So be careful. What happened in this state? Shankaracharya wrote, Shomatra Sheshena Vibhat Yatra. In this state, the intellect, inner instrument, is alone with supreme consciousness. Swapne tu buddhi sameva jagrit kali. And that state, your intellect does everything. Does everything. He creates new world. He creates new universe. So I would like to tell you a story. Very good methodological story. Very good and very big story. But I will take some portion, not full story. There was a very great rishi His name was Vishwamitra. Actually, previous he was a king and very powerful king. He had a great army, great power, and himself he was a great warrior. He knew supernatural powers also. He fought so many wars and won. It happens with him once he was traveling somewhere and in between his path he reached ashram. The ashram was Vasishtha Rishis. The Vasishtha Rishi, very great Rishi, he was lived in this forest. Very simple way. Vishwamitra reached there and he welcomed to Vishwamitra. The story went like this, very big story, but he had a cow, name was Kamden. So Vishwamitra became greedy. He told this cow, give me, I am king. I have right to take anything from anywhere. Vasishtha said, yes, you can take, unless if the cow wants. Otherwise, you cannot. So Vishwamitra tried by force. And cow denied to go with Vishwamitra. And finally, there became a war and Vishwamitra was defeated. A simple reason. Then he becomes so upset. He went for a great penance and he did great penance. He attained so many powers. He got so many boons from the God, divine powers, supernatural powers. And sometimes he become upset from the rules of the universe. He was not ready to accept the rule of the universe. Then he said, I will create my own universe. He started creating new world, new universe, a parallel universe. He said, I will create my own earth. I will create my own space. I will create my own heaven, on hell, everything parallel I will create. And he started. There is some between story. Like the God Brahma created cow. Cow is creation of Brahmas. But Vishwamitra created buffalo, alternate, parallel. And some vegetables, some fruits he already created. And he started creating human being also. And just in beginning, he created a face, coconut. So coconut creation of the Brahma, Vishwamitra. See, the eyes, the mouth in coconut. So coconut, the creation of the Vishwamitra. Suddenly God said to Vishwamitra, don't do. What are you doing? You are great Rishi. Don't be angry. Just follow rules of the universe. So stop these nonsense. Then he stopped. This story here also applies. All creation in waking state is created by Brahma. But you are like Vishwamitra. Do you know the word Vishwamitra? Vishwamitra means in Sanskrit, Vishwa, the friend of universe. And here another meaning also, a friend of the unfriend of the universe. Unfriend of the universe. The simple meaning is the unfriend of the universe. But Sanskrit grammarian, great grammarian was Paniniya. He made a special rule for Vishwamitra. And the meaning becomes the friend of universe. So Vishwamitra word has two meanings. One is the friend of the universe. Another is the unfriend of the universe. Your mind is also Vishwamitra. Your intellect also Vishwamitra. These are friend of the universe and unfriend of the universe. The intellect has power to create another creation. The intellect has power to create new heaven. Intellect, your mind has power to create new heaven, new earth, new sky, new space, new everything new. So here Shankaracharya wrote, Swamatra sheshena vibhati yatra swapne tu buddhi shamev jagrit. And dream state, your intellect does everything. Does everything. It keeps impressions from the waking state. Now see, when we see anything in the dream state, and impressions comes from waking state. In waking state, we are in control. We can control ourselves. In waking state, you can control your anger. In waking state, you can control yourself, your emotion. You can repress, you can suppress your anger, your hunger, your desire, your wanting. You can control, you can suppress because you are conscious. But in dream state is very different. You don't have any control. You cannot control. Because dream state is created only by your mind, your intellect. So it is not in your control. You see just. So your intellect, your mind takes impressions from waking state. It may be from this life, it may be from another life in previous life. So in dream state, your mind shows all its power. Mind has limitless power. Mind becomes their doer. Objects. Now see, now you have to compare with waking state. In waking state, there is soul in behind, and then comes mind, intellect, then comes your sense organs, your eyes, mouth, touch, and then object. So this is the process in waking state. So this is the system. I repeat again. You are yourself, Then comes your intellect, your mind, then sense organs, and then object. Then you can experience anything. So this is the method. But in dream state, there is no object. There is no sense organs, no outside light, no outside distance, no outside space, no outer worlds. So only mind. Kartradi bhavam, see, kartradi bhavam pratipaddirajata. In dream state, Shankaracharya wrote, your mind, your intellect becomes everyone, everything. It becomes doer. It becomes object, light, darkness, distance, everything. Mind can play all games. He has lots of power, unlimited power. And you see, the object of the dream is more fickle than the waking state, more liquid. In waking state, we have objects like I have this book. So this book is book for many years. Maybe 100 or 200 years it may destroy. It's okay. If you have a flower, after some time it may disappear. And it can take another form. So it's okay. But in dream states, the objects are very liquid. Very liquid. You see, in dream, elephants coming. And suddenly, immediately, you see, it turns as a human being. And you see, a human being turns into a snake. Anything can happen. You started flying. And the funny thing is, you are not surprised. You are not surprised. You should be. If such incident happens in waking state, you are going on the road and suddenly you see there is a man and suddenly he becomes elephant. What will happen with you? Do you know? Very difficult. How to handle? You are going on the road, you see a donkey becomes a human being. Human becomes a donkey. Would be very difficult to control yourself. But in dream states, everything is possible. Because their creator is your mind. Their creator, your mind, he creates the objects very, very fragile. Like mind is very quick, very fast. So he creates objects also very fast. That is why you are not surprised. And logic. Dream logic is different. And waking state logic very different. You cannot apply. Shankaracharya says here, Jagrit Kalin Vasana Vivid Vasanadi Kartradi Bhavam Pratipatti Rajata. In dream state, your intellect, your mind takes impressions from the waking state and then it converts, it modifies according to their own will and it converts. Kartradi Bhavam, So only mind is there, only subtle body is there. The becomes enemy and friend. Everything is only your mind. Now the question is, the very basic question is, from where does so much power come to inactive mind? See, the question is, from where does so much power come to inactive mind? Mind is inert. Mind is senseless, powerless, like any inert object cannot work. Any inert object cannot act. If it acts, it means someone is behind it. It may be visible, it may be not visible. But some consciousness must be behind. So the question is, so much power mind have from where? So Shankaracharya says, Tatra Swayambhat Iyam Paratma. Mind has energy, mind has power, it comes from consciousness. Mind has no power. Mind has no power. But it takes power from consciousness. So in mind, whatever power is, it comes from consciousness. So consciousness is the source. Consciousness is the source of power of mind. So mind takes power. Here, Dhimatrika Upadhi. Every word in this verse, every word is very meaningful, very deep meaningful. Dhimatrika Upadhi. It means, Shankaracharya says, in dream states, you are consciousness or self or individual soul has only one limitation, one supreme position, and it is subtle body. Now I explain it. In subtle waking state, there are two conditions: subtle body and gross body also. But in dream state, there is only one condition, and it is Dhimatriko. Only condition is Dhi means intellect, subtle body. Dhimatriko Upadhi Rasesa Sakshi. Asesa Sakshi, who knows everything. Everything. The knower of everything. So it is power from comes Asesa Sakshi. So now see, your intellect takes power from yourself, from consciousness. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there are some very interesting story, but I just give you some reference. Yakyavalik and Janak, there was a dialogue between rishis, and their question is, if there is no sunlight, then what? He said, moon's light. If there was no moon's light, then what? Star's light. And slowly, slowly comes nearer to nearer and says, if there is no any light, then what? He said, Atma Jyoti. Pure light, light of consciousness, everything without condition. The light of consciousness is everywhere. So, Swayam Bhati, Yatra Swayam Bhati, Ayam Paratma, Swayam Bhati, Atma Jyoti, the light of consciousness. So, in dream states, the consciousness, the individual soul, by on its light and becomes so many forms. Now, in Vedanta, there is a word, very famous word, very basic word, and very fundamental. It called Vivek. Today, I am going to explain two words here. One is Vivek, another is Parinam. You have to understand this theory. Vivek and Parinam. Vivek means what? There is no direct translation of Vivek. It cannot be translated. But we can try to understand. Like we see a snake in the rope. But the snake in the rope you can see. But nothing is going to change in the rope. Nothing is happening in the rope. Rope is untouched. You see snake in the rope, but rope is untouched. There is no poison. But you can see there is a snake. So we can say this the Vivek. Objects is appear there, but there is no object. It may appear in different way, but nothing is going to change. This is the Vivek. Parinam means modification. Like first there is milk, then it converts into curd, yogurt. So yogurt is the modification of the milk. Its quality is different from the milk. So yogurt is the modification of the milk. And then you can change yogurt into different forms. So you can say this is the Parinam, modification. In Vedanta, in this state, dream state, you have to understand two ways. One is all objects in dream state are Vivek in consciousness. You can say all objects are dream worlds. All dream world is Vivek appears in the consciousness. And you can say that right this way also, the all dream world is modification of the mind, modification of the intellect. So, धीमात्र कोपादि अशेष साक्षी न लिप्यते तत्कृत कर्म लेशै तस्माद् असंग एव कर्मभिः न लिप्यते किंचिदुपाधिना कृत. So, dream state is creation of the mind, creation of the intellect. By power is given by soul. Creation is by the mind. And now Shankaracharya wrote, mind is creating all worlds and you want to impress the soul. He gives so many experiences, and the soul is untouched, unimpressed. Asangaha, no touch. Everything is becoming there, but soul is untouched. Soul is nothing to do with mind objects. Na lipyate kinchidupadhina kritam. Now next one. Sarva vyavritti karanam lingamidam satchidatmana punsaha vasyadikamidam takshanastenaiv atma bhavat asangoyam. I repeat slowly. Sarva vyavritti karanam lingamidam satchidatmana punsaha vasyadikamidam takshanastenaiv atma bhavati asangoyam. See the translation. As the tools of the carpenter are his instruments, do this subtle body is an instrument for all activity of the Atman, which is knowledge absolute. This Atman therefore is perfectly untouched. I repeat, as the tools of carpenter are his instruments, so this subtle body is an instrument for all activity of the Atman, which is knowledge absolute. This Atman therefore is perfectly unattached. Now, Shankaracharya gives an example. Example is like a carpenter. He works with his instruments. Instruments are inert. They cannot work without consciousness. And consciousness needs instruments. Any instruments, it may be very advanced, very costly, but without operator, it cannot work. Now see, what is device? Instrument. The subtle body is the most ancient and most advanced device. No need to any update. It is your first device. So consciousness is the creator. Consciousness is the actor. Consciousness can act. So action begins from consciousness. And consciousness requires instrument. So first instrument is what? Subtle body. Directly. So subtle body is first device. And now you can say that only subtle body is direct device, then sub-device. They are not direct device. Like this, consciousness use subtle body. Subtle body use your gross body. Subtle body require your gross body. Without gross body, subtle body cannot see gross objects. Like we see any object by our eyes. So our eyes is device. But when our eyes becomes weak, we use the glasses. So glasses also object, device. But these are not direct device. They are supporting our device. So direct device is subtle body. Shankaracharya says, Sarva Vyavritti Karanam Lingamidam Chidatmana Punsaha. The consciousness use it for all activity, all experiences. See, if you want to know other than you, then you require devices. If you want to know other than yourself, then device is needed. And if you do not want to see other than you, then no device are needed. No device are required. Like in deep sleep, no device are required. In samadhi, no device are required. But if you want to know other than you, then devices are required. So, Sarva Vyavritti Karanam Lingam Idam Sat Chidatmana Punsaha. Like Bhashyadik Miva Lakshanastena Vatma Vavatya Sangoyam. It give example like a carpenter. Carpenter can work with his instrument. And instrument is different, carpenter is different. So the gross body is like a device, and consciousness, you are like a carpenter. So carpenter needs device, and any device. It may be any advance, any automatic, but it requires consciousness. Without consciousness, any device cannot work. We can set a system, one computer can operate another computer can operate another computer. But finally, at least, very beginning, there must be any consciousness. Without consciousness, any object, any inert cannot work. Now, the last one. Andatva, mandatva, patatva, dharma, saugunya, vaigunya, sadhi chakshusha, Vadir mukhattu mukhastathaiva srotrari dharma natu veturatmanaha. I repeat again slowly. Andhatva, mandatva, patattu dharma, saugunya, vaigunya, vasadhi chakshusha, Vadir mukhastathaiva srotradi dharma natu veturatmanaha. The meaning is blindness, weaknesses, or keenness of the eyes are conditions merely due its defect or fitness. So too, deafness, dumbness, etc. belong to ear, etc. These attributes can never belong to the Atman, the all-knowing principles, the consciousness. I repeat again the meaning. Blindness, weakness, or keenness of the eyes are conditions merely due its defect or fitness. So too, deafness, dumbness, etc. belong to the ear, etc. These attributes can never belong to the Atman, the all-knowing principle is the consciousness. Now the question is, in previous Varsha, there is a asangoyam, unattached. Asanga means unattached. Everything happening in the dream state, but you are unattached. Now the question is, we say, I am blind. I am blind. This person is blind by birth. I am dumb. So I am blind. It experience shows that the blindness is in I. This experience shows I am blind. So this experience shows that you are blind. So Shankaracharya here gives some explanation. Andhatva, mandatva, patatva dharma. He says the answer is did inability are in organs or not in self. Inability of organs like blindness are not consciousness. So think deeply. When you were young, your eyes, your ear was perfect. Your eyes can see very small things. But slowly, slowly, now we cannot see properly. So we can say that now my vision is not so good. Yes, my vision is not so good. Before my vision was good. So when we say I am blind, it is due to ignorance, not correct experience. The experience correct is my eyes is not capable to see. Andatva, mandatva, patatva dharma. These qualities, this defectiveness belong to the organs, not to the soul. Soul is ineffective. And one more thing. Srutrai dharma natu veturatmana. One more thing. These qualities belong to the organs. Organs does not mean organs. See, in this body, my eye is sitting here. So this is the seat for eye. Seat may be defective. So sometimes doctor operates and people can start seeing again. Vision can come back. So vision was there, but there was defect in the body level, in the gross body level, not subtle body level. So not there was some defect in subtle body level. So Srotrai dharma, these qualities, these defectiveness, keenness are on the gross level, not subtle level, and at least on the consciousness, nothing at all. Andhattu, mandattu, patattu dharma. So these qualities, blindness, weakness, keenness, are belong to organs. And I mean to say organs mean in gross level, not subtle level. And the consciousness is unattached, pure. He is nothing to do with these objects. So today we are going to close here. Thank you very much. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasisyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.